All right, so I'm hoping I can put these two images together. So here is the start of my coloring, and I'm really excited. My markers are working great. And I'm going to be making my background sky very dark here, and then I'm bringing some lighter blue in and making it lighter and lighter blue, because if you look at the picture, that same thing is happening. The other thing that I'm going to do is where these clouds are in that background. I'm going to just kind of sketch in where they're going to be, because of course that section of my background is going to remain white or lighter blue. So you can see some of that section is lighter blue, but I'm just marking out where I want my clouds to go. I'm going to change that outline a bit, but it gives me a general idea. So I just wanted to make a note of that for you as well. So, and usually artists, we tend to create background, middle ground, foreground in that order, but it doesn't really matter. Like I said before, you want to really do the large areas of color, and then you can go in and do more details. So we're going to keep going with this. I'll be back in a few seconds. So here's some progress on my sky, and I have actually been using several different markers. You can kind of tell the darkest one, medium one, another one here, and then I've been using this very light blue, which was a bit dried out, but it's been really good because I can add some water to it. I'm actually dipping it in water directly and using it to blend. So if you do have dried out markers, you can kind of use them like a paintbrush. Just by adding water to them, it doesn't ruin them. It actually eventually even can make them work again pretty well. So you can dip your marker that's dried out, if you have one, and use it to blend the colors that you're putting in there if you're doing some blending. So my sky definitely needed blending. You can see that it goes from light to dark, so I'm doing that. I'm probably even going to add a little more water with a paintbrush in here. And it's also helping me to get these clouds to look a bit more realistic, because the clouds are never just white. There's usually white and some other colors in there, which is true there too. All right, so here's some progress on my picture. I've actually started blending in more of the darks just to create more of a transition between the very dark areas and the lighter areas. And I've started on the pavement section. I'm gonna be mixing some colors here, going from dark in this background area to lighter as it's coming forward. That'll help it to feel like there's space in there. So if you're doing anything like that, you want to think about that too, making those transitions in your color. I'm gonna keep going and I'll be back again. Just showing you like progress with the foreground. So I have blended some darks in here, and I also put a little bit of peach in my foreground, and that's just to show the space. If I pick this up, maybe you can see better.
Yeah, Mommy.
So you can really kind of see the transition in there now, and I'm gonna add a little more once it's dry, but it's pretty wet right now. I just add water to it to blend everything. So now I'm gonna start to work into this large area of color, the green that is in the yards in front of these houses. Okay, be right back. So here is my picture again with some of the green that's going to be in the foreground as well. And then I'm starting to put a little bit of yellow into my sidewalk, which there's not quite as much yellow in this picture, but pictures tend to flatten out when you're looking at a photo. So you might want to include some color that you would imagine would be there, which is what I'm trying to do here. So I'll work a bit more and show you it again very shortly. So next actually, let me show you. This got very yellow, so I'm going to tone it down once that dries. I put some water in it. The next thing I'm going to do is look at these houses and find the biggest areas of color on those, which for some of them is the roof. The ones that are back here, roof. There's some white areas on these buildings too. And then for this one in the foreground, it's definitely going to be some of these sections. Of course, they're all different colors. The windows in that, the shutters are going to be last because those are a smaller detail, and also all these little fence posts and columns are going to be later too. So I'll start that up and we'll be back again. Okay, here's some progress. I have added in all of the darkest areas first. Next is I'm going to go back in, and as you can see, I worked mostly on roofs. Next, I'm going to start working into the buildings themselves. I wanted to just translate this a little since some of you are probably not going to do anything like this, but basically you want to also break your picture up into 3 parts: the foreground, middle ground, and background, like we talked about with the sketching, and then look for the biggest areas of color. So you should be doing something similar to that. I think I'm going to kind of wrap this up. I'm basically just going to go back in and do more details. You want to go from the largest areas of color to the smallest areas of color, like I'm doing with this. And if you want to try blending, if you're using marker and using some water, you can do that. You can also just do this whole thing with watercolor if you wanted to. But you're really just looking from dark to light and from foreground, middle ground, and background. I am looking forward to seeing what you create for your background for your hybrid creature. And I'm not sure what I did with mine. He's missing right now. But the last step that you're going to do, let's assume that I'm finished. I cannot find him. So I'll be back and show you the last part. So I found my Frozebra, and I have worked a little more on my background. So this is the point where you want to, yeah, the Frozebra, there he is. This is the point where you want to try to work out where you want your creature. And as you can see, mine is really big. So I might actually add another piece of paper down below to have him kind of like this. But you can move your creature, your hybrid animal, around and try to work out where you'd like them to be in relationship to everything else. And if they come off the page like mine is doing right now, that's okay. It's no problem. I will look forward to seeing what you come up with for these. And this is the final step for this project. So please, if you have finished this up, post it. No, do not post it. Email it to me so I can make comments for you specifically. And then I'm going to post them all together so that all your friends can see what you came up with too. All right, I'm looking forward to this, artist, and nice to talk to you. We'll start another project next time. Bye.